Mahito, I'm the Flawless Wars, and welcome back to another reaction to Death Battle, but they kind of pulled a fast one on us on this one. It was expected to be coming out today, the day that I'm recording this, the 30th, but apparently it actually dropped yesterday, but I was at work, unable to record, so I've basically been trying to wiggle around avoiding spoilers. Thankfully, the only spoiler that I got is what the next fight is, which that's not the hugest of spoilers, so we're still cool. We're good. And the only other thing is just that the fight is very good. So that's not a spoiler. That's just a promise of a good time. So let's jump right in. I still think that it's basically Shigaraki stomps. The only thing that Mahito had going for him is difficulty in being put down, but Shigaraki can still get around that, so yeah, that looks really good. Moro just
Shigaraki
cooks.
versus Mahito.
The symbol of fear versus the human disaster curse.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
The hardest thing to animate are hands.
Tenko Shimura was just a sweet, shy boy
that's kind of the
who
big theme
loved
here.
superheroes.
But sometimes the hand of fate can't abide sweet shy boys.
Ruthlessly beaten and abused by his hero-hating father, Tenko pushed beyond his emotional limits until he activated his inherent superpower, or quirk.
It wasn't something cool like flight or super strength. In his terror, he accidentally killed his whole family. Well, except for dear old dad. That one was intentional.
Tenko wandered the streets alone, silently begging for someone, anyone, to help him. If only a hero was there to save him. But instead, the only open hand he found belonged to the devil.
All for one. The greatest supervillain in history.
He took Tenko under his wing, feeding a hatred of everyone and everything, and grooming him to one day lead his League of Villains in destroying Hero Society.
With that came a new name, Tomura Shigaraki, and an absolutely nightmarish quirk, Decay. It does what it says on the tin. Anything Shiggy touches with all 5 fingers turns to dust. The perfect power
Right,
for someone who just wants to destroy.
He's faster, so I don't see that being a problem.
If not for that dorky-ass costume. I get it, hands are his thing, but come on. They just look so dumb and fake.
Oh, those aren't prosthetics. Those are real hands from his family that he killed, attached to his face, and explicitly commanded to be left there by his mentor so that he would never forget his rage.
Was one of the... I wonder if there's somewhere that the dog
Decay
hand
started
is.
off relatively weak. It rapidly increased in power and range as Shigaraki came into his own.
Decay isn't even limited to whatever he's touching. Anything that touches something he's decaying also decays.
Spreading like an all-consuming miasma that can wipe out anything from an enormous tower to an entire city.
If decay reaches you, your only hope is to isolate the body part that is disintegrating before it gets to something vital.
After years of training with the greatest supervillain of all time, Shigaraki was finally put in charge of his own team with one mission. He must kill his master's rival, the #1 hero, All Might.
Only to fall flat
My
on
guy
his
beat him
face.
to it.
Shigaraki was a terrible leader, quick-tempered, short-sighted, and, well...
Cringe! Oh, he's just so cringe. He uses
They broke the
gamer
league.
lingo unironically. He whines like a baby when things don't go his way. He's the kind of guy who would say normie in real life, in front of normies.
But they say defeat is the greatest teacher of all. Only through struggle could Shigaraki manifest his dark conviction.
Right as All Might's new protege, Izuku Midoriya, was coming into his own as well.
These two rivals, the inheritors of their master's blood feud, would push themselves past their own limitations.
Especially when All Might and All for One double KO'd each other, leaving Shigaraki to lead the League of Villains all by himself.
And with the stakes higher than ever before, Shigaraki stepped up. He personally battled the monstrous Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight, and conquered other villain organizations to create the Paranormal Liberation Front. Thousands of new soldiers for his personal army.
All to impress All for One's personal quack. Dr. Ujiko, who spent months upgrading Shigaraki's body to make it more like his sensei's. It might have been constant agony, but Shiggy went from Chud to Chad.
Ujiko's experimentation vastly increased Shigaraki's strength, speed, and durability, enough to match and surpass even All Might's absurd power.
Sharing All Might's power between them,
Yeah, this is
Deku
part
and
of the
Bakugo
problem,
were
is
able to
that
punch an island-sized hole in the
Shigaraki
cloud that
scales
reached
to the
2
top.
dozen
Mahito
miles into
really
the
does
sky.
not.
We've calculated that before to be nearly 80 million megatons of TNT, almost as much as the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
And Shigaraki can now move fast enough that his body produces hypersonic shockwaves and can even catch laser beams.
And he's tough enough to survive Star and Stripes Intercontinental Ballistic Cruise Punch. Now the new name for my penis. Move over,
Goddamn it.
gigantic Omega Storm. Anyway, it also made a blast so big it showed up against the curvature of the Earth.
Though he might seem invincible, when Shigaraki's body is pushed hard enough, he will evolve into a state of uncontrollable power.
So Decay became, oh shit, more hands.
Shigaraki
Yeah.
can spontaneously generate flesh into existence, seemingly oceans of it in an instant, whenever he wants. He can even use it as a type of armor to defend himself in close combat.
But that's nothing compared to Ujiko's greatest gift. Shigaraki wanted to be the new All for One, so what better way than the old man's quirk?
All for One's quirk,
Yeah.
All for One, allows its user to steal and store quirks with just a touch.
He's got a lot
And
of
All
them.
for One has hundreds of them stored up, collected over the years.
Each quirk is connected to a memory of its user's essence in the form of a spirit, a
It can
vestige.
theoretically
Like a piece of
use
their
as
soul.
like a
They
shield-ish
exist
in
in
this
this
case.
kind of psychic world in Shigaraki's body, and can even act as a spiritual defense should it be invaded.
Yeah.
And with those vestiges
That's-
came quirks
that's part of the
like
relevant
super
part,
fast
yeah.
healing, air blasts, radio waves, flight, telekinesis, teleportation of others, and the ability to track foes.
He can even combine multiple quirks together, like in this big-ass electric Kamehameha.
However, any
Yeah.
vestige stolen or destroyed will also remove that quirk from Shigaraki's repertoire. They're also sentient, and some can even fight for control.
Which is when the second shoe finally dropped. Because Shigaraki also got All for One's vestige, that means All for One was now in possession of a shiny new body that he'd spent the last 15 years molding for him to take over.
Shigaraki's entire existence was planned from the beginning. Why? Because All Might's previous mentor was Nana Shimura, Tanko's grandmother.
Oh, that to mess with All Might. That is some next level hating right there.
He manipulated Shigaraki's entire life, all for one purpose: to create a soul so corrupted it would grind away at All Might's perfect world, allowing All for One to take full control.
But All for One's possession wasn't complete, and Shiggy managed to fight his way back to the top, literally decaying his way through vestiges in the process, all to fight his rival Deku one last time.
Despite Izuku's best efforts to save him, Shigaraki was too far gone. His spirit decayed by years
Yeah.
of venomous hatred.
And the new symbol of hope defeated the new symbol of fear, burying All for One's grudge for good.
All that Shigaraki asked was to be remembered as the heartless destroyer he was raised to be, and not the broken, angry, crying little boy he really was deep inside.
For just that one moment, though, Shiggy got in Deku the only thing he'd been denied his whole life, the one thing his lifelong nihilistic tantrum was really all about. He got a hero who tried to save him.
Damn, that end hits hard.
Ever since
All right,
Cain
now the
slew
one that I
his
know
brother Abel and
less
wetted
about.
his fields with his blood, man's greatest fear has been his fellow man.
I know a fair bit
But
more
what
about
if this fear
My Hero
took on
Academia
a
than
life of its
Jujutsu
own?
Kaisen.
What if all that negative emotion humans felt for one another spilled from their bodies and congealed, forming, over time, a living being fueled by malice, which believes in nothing but the law of the jungle?
Well, then you'd have the special grade curse with the patch face, Mahito. Oh, I've had people tell me I've become a human disaster curse when I've had too many mojitos.
Mahito is
Nice.
one of the deadliest beings to ever afflict
Oh
mankind.
god, it's someone
He's
who's
no
a
mere
fan
mortal,
of J.R.R.
but a
Tolkien's about
cursed
to
spirit.
lose to a
Innumerable
person who plays
spirits
League of
exist,
Legends.
weaker or stronger depending on
What
the
a
amount
cursed
of anxieties,
result.
jealousies, hatreds, and fears humans feel about them.
Like the fear of locusts, kinda weak. Or the fear of smallpox, getting stronger, or the fear of fire. Oh, goodbye, Tokyo.
So it follows that mankind's fear of itself would be extremely powerful. Those negative emotions manifest as Mahito, a being composed of cursed energy.
It's basically like evil ki. Cursed energy can be used to make spirits way stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human. And it's invisible, making curses like Mahito impossible for the untrained eye to see. Only a life or death situation can galvanize a normal person to see a cursed spirit.
That also makes cursed spirits virtually immune to physical damage. They may be physically present in space, but can only be harmed by attacks that embody spirit matter like cursed energy.
Which makes curses insanely hard to get rid of, like ghosts, cockroaches, or my ex. That's why you need a jujutsu sorcerer to come in and kaizen the shit out of them. They call it exorcism, but I like the way I said it better.
Curses and sorcerers have battled each other for millennia, waging an endless war over the fate of humanity. Almost exclusively in Japan, though, for some reason.
But Mahito was special. You see, most curses are basically dumb animals. But Mahito has so much cursed energy that it gave him sentience.
So he was recruited by Kenjaku alongside other special grade disaster curses to wreak havoc upon the world. In fact, they made Mahito their leader.
And even more frightening than intelligence and bloodlust, Mahito possessed philosophy.
Perhaps informed by the tragic meaninglessness of interhuman conflict, Mahito is an existential nihilist, believing in nothing but his own will to power. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and Mahito is the wolf.
Which also makes him kind of a goofball. If nothing matters, why not have fun with the slaughter? Really get your steps in. He loves to dig around and toy with your emotions like a cartoon character before slitting your throat.
An appropriate analogy considering his curse technique, idol transfiguration.
Using his cursed energy, Mahito can control anyone's soul with just a touch, including his own. In fact, he's so good at manipulating his own soul that you can't even kill the bastard without directly targeting it.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, the soul and the body share an immutable connection. Whatever happens to the former affects the latter.
This lets Mahito squash, stretch, and shape-shift his body into literally anything he wants. Like Play-Doh, he can turn his limbs into blades or clubs, grow wings like a bird or fins like a fish, reform his body around injuries, or even create clones.
Curse users are naturally unharmed by their own ability. Should he touch a human, though, his alterations to their body are instantly fatal.
And since he's attacking your soul, those physical wounds are gonna be impossible to heal.
Even if his alteration isn't directly fatal, the human body won't last more than a few moments in a transfigured state.
All that with one touch! God, I thought herpes was bad.
His powers mean Mahito treats humans as effectively disposable dolls that he can gleefully experiment on. The more casualties, the better, especially if he gets to break your spirit first and watch you suffer.
Even more twisted is when he combines two transfigured humans together for soul multiplicity, essentially a giant torrent of body horror flesh that he repels at an opponent.
Mahito is unbelievably creative with his application of idol transfiguration, and despite being a newborn curse, consistently keeps experienced sorcerers on the back foot.
It helps that he's a quick study who's picked up a number of different curse techniques, like the Black Flash.
By applying cursed energy within 1 microsecond of an impact with an enemy, space itself will distort, exponentially amplifying its force by a factor of 2.5.
Not only does this hurt like a mother, it restores your curse technique and gets you fully in the zone.
And would require reflexes moving nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound.
Yeah,
it's no surprise
that's not
that
comparing
Mahito also
to light.
unlocked the pinnacle of sorcerer techniques, the domain expansion.
Oh shit! More hands! A domain is like a barrier of cursed energy, but if you're caught inside, Mahito can use idol transfiguration instantly without even needing to touch you.
It's called the self-embodiment of perfection, the ultimate expression of Mahito's absolute control over his victim's body and soul. The only time it ever failed was against the student sorcerer and Mahito's archenemy, Yuji Itadori.
Because not only was Yuji a barf-inducing goody little two-shoes who believed in the inalienable rights of all living things, blah, blah, blah.
He also has like
had a
Super
curse
Satan
inside of him.
The king of curses, Sukuna.
Which meant Mahito's ability affected both souls in Yuji's body. Sukuna didn't like that. no surprise, and kicked Mahito's ass, forcing Patchface to fight with a handicap whenever facing his pink-haired menace.
Yuji's belief in the value of human life flew directly in the face of the world that Mahito knew to be cruel and meaningless. So he made it his mission to crush Yuji's spirit before killing him, murdering his friends, defiling their corpses, and brutally battering him before going in for the kill.
And he's got the strength to do it. Mahito's one of the most powerful curses in the world, and his growth is exponential.
Fellow disaster curse Jogo was able to summon a massive meteor capable of reducing the city of Shibuya to ash.
That'd take an energy of over 800 kilotons of TNT.
And Mahito can take
still
as
not
good
close.
as he can give, especially when, in the throes of struggle against Yuji, he evolved, unlocking a vastly more powerful form, the instant body of distorted killing.
Complete with armored exoskeleton and arm blades, this was a taste of the almighty curse Mahito was growing into, a true blight on all mankind.
It wouldn't last. In a bitter battle of resolve, Yuji won out. In a dog-eat-dog world, there was now a bigger wolf.
So he tucked tail and ran away like a bitch. What do you know? Life suddenly became a whole lot more meaningful the second it looked like it was about to end.
All that gleeful nihilism, just a bitter hypocrisy in the end.
For him, maybe, but Mahito found a convert in his archenemy. After a battle that wiped out thousands of innocent people, Yuji's youthful spirit was gone. The only thing left that mattered was exorcising this curse.
In a way, that was Mahito's final victory, the destruction of another human being's soul. He may not have been around to see it, but the curse Mahito inflicted on the world would bring it to its knees. All right, the combatants are set.
Okay, I see nothing that changes really anything about how I saw it going in. Mahito just ain't that guy. Yeah, we saw that in the pre. Oh, okay. As we're floating. Yeah, that looks really good though. How close are we to Moro just making his own anime?
I'd heard of a powerful villain stalking these parts. My organization is going to tear this putrid world down around us. We could use a freak of your talents.
Little old me. Do I want to be king of the social rejects? How about I bring them your head instead?
Fine by me. Let's call this your audition, Sickum.
Couple no move probably won't accomplish anything. They'll just give good opportunity for me some visions and kill powers.
Game over.
Toasty.
Did you actually just say that?
Calling out on the cringe.
God, how lame!
Oh, you can see like the vestiges going on each hit. Well, see that's good because it shows that they're being used as a barrier.
Audition over.
Did I get the part?
Good delivery.
Decay! What a rush!
Ooh, final form. Oh, both of them are going final form. Okay. Music's going hard. Nice.
You got
Domain expansion.
Oh god. Hands time. Moro animating lots of hand.
I can read your soul. You're just a scared little boy whose daddy is mean and wants to make it everyone else's problem. Grow up.
Oh.
Hands off my masterpiece.
Oh, that goes hard. Yeah, we're done.
I felt your soul too. You only hated
Run, bitch.
me because you were born
Yeah.
that way. Totally random. I hate them for a reason.
The funny little head guy. I love the funny little head
You
guy.
grow up.
Good shit. Nice. That was a
What
good
did I
one.
say, Wiz? Like a bitch.
With their complex
Moro,
power
king of the
sets,
kitchen.
this match was a puzzle to figure out, which is why we're breaking
Was
it
it?
down to 3 categories: physical stats, survivability, and their powers.
But first, let's address one thing. Could
I guess the
Shigaraki
puzzle-
even see Mahito?
Yeah,
He's an invisible
puzzle more
curse
than
after
actually
all.
being a hard
Cursed
fight.
energy and quirks are notably different, and Shigaraki wouldn't be able to see curses normally. However, even regular humans can spontaneously develop the ability to see curses in life and death scenarios. And with the Surge quirk, Shigaraki would have had no problem
Curses are
tracking it.
So
on a
seeing
different
Mahito
spectrum of
wouldn't have
light.
been an issue. With
Yeah.
that out of the way, we can jump into their stats.
This was no contest. Despite the disaster
their
curses
tenuous
being
skill
able to
to
destroy
mine
entire cities with
resource
their cursed
construction
energy,
techniques to do
Shigaraki
with
scaling to
special
Deku and
disaster
Bakugo
curse,
meant he was
is still not
calculably
surpassed
millions of
strength.
times
Yeah,
stronger.
not a
He
chance.
was faster, too, considering he could react to
Skill
light
to relative
beams, while
distance and
Mahito's
range.
Black Flash capped out at nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. Nothing to scoff at, but Shiggy was thousands of times faster. Shigaraki takes stats.
But survivability was a little trickier to figure out.
Yep, in terms of raw durability, Shigaraki was a lot tougher, and his ability to generate new flesh meant that he could heal
Idle
any wounds he might
transformations, unique
receive
abilities to
super
nullify
easy.
regen,
However,
like reverse curse
Mahito is
techniques
a curse
predicated
and is
on
immune to the
damaging
kind of
souls.
overwhelming
Mahito could
physical damage
not
Shigaraki could
ascertain
dish
and
out.
directly
Not
target
only
the
that,
super generation
Mahito's
vestige,
regenerative
therefore he
ability
could not
via
stop
idle
Shigaraki from
transfiguration
healing bodily
meant that he'd
injuries.
come back
Okay.
from anything short
Yep.
of spiritual damage.
Considering Mahito's unique curse body, he should actually get the edge in survivability.
Which presents a crucial question. Could Shigaraki even kill a curse like Mahito in the first place?
Or would Mahito's unkillability give him the time he needed to eventually put Shiggy down with idle transfiguration?
It all comes down to their powers.
Shigaraki had a lot more variety with all of the crazy
Tons
quirks
of
all
quirks
for one
and
and collected
all of
over
them
all the
act
years.
as
But
shields.
none that we know of could properly kill a curse. That didn't mean idle transfiguration was a surefire bet either, though.
Of all things, Shigaraki's vestiges served as a
Shigaraki's tried
spiritual
multiple
shield
one-for-all
from the
transfer
effects
attacks
of
with
idle
Deku, which directly
transfiguration.
attack the
The
soul
fact
and
that
reflects
Mahito could not
identical
avoid
damage on the
targeting
body,
Sukuna
which,
while attacking
just like
Yuji
idle
meant that he
transfiguration,
couldn't
his
target
body evolved
specific
to have
souls
its
inside a person.
And Shiggy has
that
hundreds
too.
of soul-like entities inside of him. Sure, each one down means he loses a quirk, but that's more than enough time to land a single hit with Decay, especially considering how much faster Shiggy is.
And
Yeah.
Mahito has no way to defend
That's
against Shigaraki's primary
Shigaraki could not
quirk.
target spiritual
Decay has
matter.
affected
Nami
spiritual
states that
beings
the
in
curse
the
of
past.
Mahito would still
Again,
die after expending all their
vestiges.
curse energy.
In fact,
Ensure
he was able to
physical
damage
advantage,
Deku's
or
vestige
attrition.
and
Yeah.
have that damage transferred to the Deku in the real world.
Mahito may be made of spirit energy, but he still has a physical form. In fact, sorcerers that couldn't naturally target the soul were able to fight him on even footing. No reason to think Shiggy wouldn't decay him like everyone else.
Giving Shigaraki the third and final edge. It was a unique duel to the death, but Shigaraki's overwhelming
one of
might,
his quirks,
unstoppable powers,
inferior
and
regen.
deadly decay
Yeah,
spelled
fair.
the end for the disaster curse.
Nothing else to say. You really gotta hand it to Shigaraki.
The winner is Tomura Shigaraki.
Next time on
And up next is Chief versus the Doom guy. Or Doom Slayer, rather.
Subscribe and join.
Hell yeah. That was a fun one. It's one of those ones where I'm not terribly invested in either character for the most part, but definitely a really fun analysis. They went into a lot of the good story aspects for both. And the animation, I mean, what can you say? Moro doesn't miss when it comes to... I mean, he's only done 2 animations so far, but both of them have been really good. That said, I'll see you guys for the prediction for this one. It's probably not going to be a terribly long prediction. It's a little bit of an obvious winner for the most part. oh boy. Have yourselves a good one.